Hello everybody, my name is Mike. I'm going to be doing a speed run of Glittermitten Grove all symbols today. I'll explain what that means in a minute. We're going to dive right in, and so I'll name the town Dive Right In. Why not? And with no further ado, I'm ready to count down. 3, 2, 1, and go. Gotta make sure not to do the and when I actually count down, because that's not great. Alright, so first off, we gotta fast forward, shoot a bunch of fireworks, see how vertical we can get, plant this plant, cut this plant, and build a torch, and build a house, so our fairies have somewhere to sleep. Now, we didn't get any extra crystals when we were digging earlier, so instead we're gonna be building this sparkle hut and a single prism. If we got some crystals, we would have been able to build a second prism, gather more sunlight quicker, which would allow us to shoot these fireworks a little bit more quickly, but we're gonna make do just fine with what we've got. So we've got to keep digging. We got to dig about 4.5 torch depths here. Not sure what that one's getting, but okay. Yeah. And normally you would be spreading out left and right, building woodsheds, pantries, all that stuff, but we're trying to get to a certain depth underground about by summer of year 1. If you make it all the way to winter, you are absolutely hosed if you don't have a giant stockpile of food in a bunch of pantries. But we are going to be able to bypass that if we can get to this cave soon enough. The goal of any percent for Glittermitten Grove is basically to get a thriving village of 50 fairies. That's the highest amount that your fairy pal Titania chimes in with a message about. She gives these little tips on playing and messages about your progress. There we go. But all symbols is an interesting run. We're gonna be going down and gathering these symbols from this cave here. There's somewhere to sleep. There's a house right here. What are you talking about, game? Huh? That means we're gonna get some slow movement on these logs. Though actually, if this fairy who just woke up is able to build that thing, yeah, we're doing okay. There's a door down here. Hey everybody, my name is Mike. I'm doing an all symbols run of Text World. Text World is based on ZZT, which was an old DOS game by Tim Sweeney. You might know him, he made the Unreal Engine. Now, I've gotten these things called the autocorrect skates. When you move, you have to hold the direction for a little while before you start moving at full speed. And these autocorrect skates allow you to automatically turn when you hit a corner, but they can be a bit finicky. Now, I'm going to do this punch yourself mechanic, which lets you... let's see here. Nice, pardon me. Which lets you automatically respawn at the area where you entered a screen. Hey everybody, my name is Mike. I'm going to be doing a speed run of Toaster Derivatives. Toaster Derivatives is sort of a mix of Flappy Bird and Cookie Clicker. You can see I'm this toaster inspired by an old wallpaper pack that you could buy for Windows. I'm adding fuel to this toaster, which increases its temperature, which increases its height. And the point of this game is to fly through a bunch of legally non-distinct green pipes. Now, you can't actually get that antimatter at the bottom. If you get 1,000 degrees, then you wind up hitting the top and you just crash and die. And you might be wondering, what the heck happened to our cute fairy village? Where are all the fairies, huh? So there was a browser game called Frog Fractions. It was fun. You were a frog, you were eating bugs, fractions appear. It was supposed to look educational, but the fractions had nothing to do with anything. And eventually you wind up flying a dragon into space, being put on trial for your crimes against bug kind, and then eventually you wind up winning people's hearts and becoming the president of Bug Mars. And people found it very entertaining. And so they kickstarted a sequel called Frog Fractions 2. That game turned into this, or that Kickstarter turned into this huge ARG. The developers were not willing to tell people when or where Frog Fractions 2 came out, but they kept dropping all these hints, secret YouTube playlists. Someone got shipped a box with blacklight Cyrillic written on it. It was some wild stuff. And eventually someone got mailed a big button. They pressed that button, turned into an update for a game called Glittermitten Grove. Hang on, we didn't show this guy our sword earlier, so we're gonna show it to him now. There we go. He's kind of like Mido from Ocarina of Time. He doesn't want to let us through if we don't show him our sword. So we definitely showed it to him there. Okay, I gotta get to the sewer blimp. Anyway, so is this Frog Fractions 2? We'll find out. We'll find out much later. But now I've got to go down here. Titania's back. She's chiming in. She was off getting a sandwich. And I've got to take out a bunch of these cockroaches. The next game we're playing is going to be called Spaxrus. And it's pretty intense. This room in particular is based on a game called NetHack, which was based on Hack, which was based on Rogue, which was the game that's the namesake of the roguelike genre. So before we can play Spaxrus, we have to enter our age, which means, of course, to prove that we're the age we entered, we have to answer a bunch of trivia questions from 1895. And that's good, and now we're ready for Spaxrus, which is super passive-aggressive xenomorph roommate irritation simulator, where we are roommates with the alien from the Aliens franchise. We just keep on kind of bothering him, stealing his stuff, mansplaining his games and stuff. Yeah, and we just want to make him move out. We do not like that roommate. And so now we are back in the overworld, but this room wasn't dark before. Oh, I remember it being sunny out here. No, what's happened is we've entered an alternate overworld. Sometimes when you beat the minigames, you spawn out in these alternate ones. This one's called Copheck. So we gotta throw a grenade. That didn't explode. It was actually a pear, it turns out. But it still splats on the wall hard enough that it distracts the guards. And so we're able to get by here. Ooh, we got the good RNG on these ones. So all symbols, you're gonna see me pick up one of the symbols right here, means that we get all these yellow symbols, as well as the second version of each of them. There are 2 copies of each symbol in the game. One of them's yellow, one of them's purplish pink. And when you collect the pink one, something called a corn story plays, and you'll be hearing a bunch of those throughout the run when they show up. The symbols have a purpose. I'll get to that a little bit later in the run. But for now, we're playing Chess Invaders, which is an active time battle chess simulation. You can move as many pieces as you want at a time. You can queue up movements in advance for when their cooldown runs out. And it follows the general rules of chess. Now, I am not, by any means, particularly good at chess. Dang it! I lost one of my guys. I keep losing my guys. I got one of their guys. When you pick up enemy pieces, you're able to... Okay. Yeah, when you capture the enemy pieces, you're able to place down more of your own, of whatever piece you picked up. That would usually be pretty useful, except that the pieces that are the most useful for this don't really spawn until after the minigame is done. This game is basically a 2.5-minute auto-scroller. And so what you gotta do is make sure that your king survives for 2.5 minutes, and you wanna have some long moving pieces on the far left of the screen. Why not? Oh yeah, and then I can capture that one. Yeah, that works out pretty well. This does have castling involved in it. I think I did an en passant one time too, though I'm not actually that clear on how that works. Something about if a pawn would have moved 1 space and they actually moved 2, then you can still pick it up as though it moved 1. Something like that. Maybe the opposite. Once this rook is ready to spawn in, then I'm able to get then I'm able to move on to the next section of the game here. And if this was a marathon, this would be a great section to do donations because of the auto-scroller aspect of it. Now, I've gotten the bridge from the Atari game Adventure, and we've got to get a purple key. And of course, where better to go than the key gen where we can generate some keys, hear some sweet chiptunes, see some strange text describing probably some shady files, and now we can use this bridge to go through walls like this. I'm picking up more of these symbols as we go. And in this area, I've got to make sure to get, to max out my gem counter. That is going to be incredibly important for the next section of this game. Oop. There we go. Okay, we're doing good. And I just remembered that I forgot to plug in my something that I'll be using for this next part of the game, so I'll see if I can do that one-handed here while I run. Okay, and I've knocked over an orange paint can, which has painted me and all of my keys orange. This room has gravity, this cathedral here. The rest of the game is top down. You can do some interesting kind of coyote jump mechanics. There we go. When you're right at the edge, so you can kind of hoop around like this, and you got to dodge all these bullets as well. Whoops, I didn't get the little eye symbol there. Dang it. Having a bit of bad luck with the movement tech in this cathedral here. Yeesh. But that happens sometimes. And there we go. Okay. Okay, we are hooked up, and we are playing some barber pole position. Okay. You don't need to use a kazoo there. But I like to use an instrument when I can. Okay, now. Slightly messed up my splits a little bit, but that's fine. I can correct that later. Oh, actually, no, I gotta go here first. Yeah, get this little hidden symbol. And our next game is coming up pretty quick here. Excellent. Okay, Absamajata. When I start off this game, I type Absamajata, which quickly assigns the top characters to each of these slots. This game is Loma Manager, which stands for Lord Management Manager. Lord Management being an alternate name for MOBAs. Wait, A, B, C, D, E. Okay. And this game is pretty much random. If one of your teammates loses connection or closes out of the game for some reason, then you've got to quickly swap them out. Otherwise, it just plays itself, and it's much quicker to lose this than to win it. I've got to remember T, J, M, A, S are the letters you can type, and I've got to remember to put E in the slot, because that's whoever has the lowest skill and will hopefully die fastest. Earlier, when we were gathering all those gems, if your gem wallet is maxed out, is full, then you cannot run through the gems. And the cathedral area uses that as a means of of giving you a platform to run on top of. You have to have a full wallet so you can run on top of a platform made of gems, and you have to enter that cathedral through that chimney or that secret roof entrance, so that you don't have the green key in your inventory. If you have a green key, then you also unlock a bunch of doors that are being used as a platform that you've got to jump on top of. So far, no disconnects here. This game can randomly have anywhere. Oh, there we go. TEN. Okay. Anywhere from 0 to I've seen at least 4 players disconnect in the time that it takes to beat it. I have won it before, but even if you play at your best, even if you're like swapping people out, paying attention to the skill levels and energy, it's pretty much random if you're gonna win or not. And hopefully it'll be E again, because that's the one with skill level 4. So we're going pretty good here. Almost. There we go. And you can do this return to text world button at the end of at the end of most games. Some of them spawn you out in different weird ways. But now we're in another alternate overworld. Might as well wait for this bomb to pass. Jeez. It's called Bomb Hack, where we got to, oh, good thing that was close. Where we have to dodge a bunch of randomly spawning bombs. We can pick up some symbols on the way. Here's our first Corn story.
Needing quick cash to pay for a sick new tattoo, Corn PHP ninja Todd Redmoggle formed a crack team to rob the Belvedere, Maryland municipal water treatment plant. The team wore baklava on their heads because Todd had read a WikiHow article exhorting it as the most effective way to hide your face from security. In 2007, Korn lead singer Gary Glitter.
Unfortunately, we're gonna have a lot of these stories get cut off by each other.
Korn cellist Georgios Papanikolaou invented a new breakfast cereal and spent millions of dollars marketing it as Corn Pop.
Dang it! Oh, so
When
close.
informed that a very similar cereal name was already trademarked, marketing inertia only allowed him to change a single letter of the name while retaining brand recognition. He ended up diversifying with a different name in each region. Corn Poop, in American Samoa, performed most poorly. Corn Paps performed best due to the high density of obstetricians in the Czech Republic.
So this is Shaving Story, where we go through a bunch of little adventures in the history of America's first beard, circa 2008 to 2016. We get to shave the face of former U.S. President Barack Obama and see a bunch of stories of him and important moments in shaving throughout his life. This game is basically a 5-minute auto-scroller. If you shave really well or really poorly, it makes no difference. If you don't use enough shaving foam, then you'll get all these little cuts around here. And I don't think I've ever fully clean shaven them, but I've gotten pretty close. I've clean shaven them, but I wasn't able to wash off all the shaving cream. That's a pretty good little goatee. Yeah. That's Teen Obama. He wore that suit. And so since this is an auto-scroller, I'm just gonna kind of mess around here for a little bit. We'll see if I can mess up and then fix a Rubik's Cube in this time. I am not a trained Rubik's Cube user, as indicated by the fact that I tried to lube this thing up with WD-40 about 3 years ago, and it still feels all kind of goopy. But let's see here. So I think what you do is you gotta start with the top ones, and you gotta get the middles to line up. What do you do? Okay, so that one's good. Blue is one to the left of orange, and then red, I gotta rotate that a little bit. There you go. See, so the top, and then all the we got like a little plus, and they all seem to line up with the middle ones. So next, I gotta get the corners. Yeah. So I fold that down. Fold that over there. Fold that down, and then that. Okay. Oh no, there's a bomb on the presidential tour bus. Oh wait, they forgot to set the clock. I think we're good. I'll give the bomb a bunch of little cuts too. Take that. that. What did I do? I messed this up. I just got like the wrong corner on the wrong side here. Right, I forgot that one's short. We still got a couple little messages from Titania here. She gives you tips while you're going around Text World. By the way, of course, this would be another good spot for donations or shout-outs to sponsors, anything like that, if this was a marathon run. Now, what do I do here? Oh, that's the red and green one. Okay, I'm not even done the top yet. This is a horrible Rubik's Cube tutorial. Why do people do this during speedruns? Why is this the thing that people tune in for when they expect to see speedruns? Is Rubik's Cube tutorials done poorly? Oh boy. Okay, there we go. We got the top and the top row basically. So next, there's something called the algorithm where you can do this. And you want to get so you can see there's like green and red here. So I align that to the green one and I rotate it. And I go through the cutscene. And then that shifts it, that rotates it to the side. And you can do it in the opposite order to rotate it the other way. Now I should probably start trying to remember what the steps are for the next part of the run, but where would the fun be in that? Okay. Arf. There we go. And so we got the middle. I don't think I'm gonna get this done. And this is our last auto scroller. Oh well. Oh, snap. Ah, it's pretty close, actually. Whoops. No, I messed it up. Not too bad, actually. Whoa. I guess I did it! Yes! 6 seconds to go. All right. As they say, let us go stream. So, we're gonna enter the rapid part of the stream here, where we are cleaning up and getting the remainder of the Corn stories. So now we've unlocked this clock item, which has an automatic alarm set. If that alarm goes off, we will... Hey, oh, this is the frog room. You talk to this frog. Each of the symbols we've been collecting is a different word in the frog's language. If that alarm goes off, then it will respawn us right at the start of the game in that little spawning area. Okay, gonna get through there. Good. And so what we do is we just shift it from PM to AM.
35 in the early 2000s, and all 4 decided to run for president in the 2004 election cycle.
Sorry, sometimes those skeletal lions can be a little bit intimidating.
Rodeo and renounced their U.S. citizenship to declare fealty to New Metal Planet 1013 FM as a publicity stunt.
And thankfully, if we just shift it from AM to PM or PM to AM, then it puts our timer pretty close to the time that this next minigame appears, which it spawns in at 12:30 on the clock. I'm a little bit behind my usual time, but not by too bad. Not by too much. And the next game is Spax vs. New Game Plus, where we just pick up some ketchup and just drop it all over all of our roommate the Slender Man's stuff. Spray ketchup on his computer. Put some ketchup on the TV. Talk in front of the TV. Put a note on the TV. Talk in front of the TV. Just really bothering. Now this game has this glitching effect. If it's doing that glitching effect when you beat the game, then it will not stop doing that. So we have to be very careful about these annoyance bars and make sure that that once it looks like it's getting close to the top here that we are okay, waiting for it to finish. So thankfully we didn't get stuck in that glitch. There we go. So now we're really in the main cleanup section here. I'm gonna try and optimize my timing with the punch yourself functionality. I love the names of the characters in this stuff.
Of Korn singles Jungle Bells, Rolling Stone reviewer Sergio Van Lukenstein thought especially highly of the B-side, Falling Water, writing that including an entire house with the album is of great pragmatic as well as artistic value to the listener.
This room is actually based on another thing from Adventure on Atari, which is considered to be, by many, the first Easter egg in a video game. Warren Robinett was a developer who put his name in the game, which was not common practice at the time.
Even Emergency Channel 9, which is reserved for heartwarming pick-me-ups like
Warren Robinett is not involved in the creation of this game.
Korn CEO Sylvia Plath. In 1952, Korn physical therapist Rutherford B. Haploid started dating conjoined twins. Wanting to be equitable, he bought a drafting table and a slide rule to figure out how to make out with both of them at once. On hearing this, Ethel, the left-hand... Googling his own name, Korn bassist Jimothy Johnson discovered Slashfig shipping him with polymath Paul Erdos. He hired a private detective to track. Receiving a pallet of boxes from Coca-Cola Corporation, Korn argued over what to call it. Turntablist Pledge Kratham called it Pop. Waterfoam.
And with those two symbols left, we are doing this optimally. We're doing pretty well. So now we're talking to a frog. Each of these symbols represents a different word. I'll tell him, okay, please push the blue crate. Please get the blue key. Please push the red crate. And then a gorilla's going to show up. And we tell the frog, please give some food to the gorilla. And while he's doing that, I'm just going to sneak out here and knock over a couple of potted plants in this office, one of which hides a symbol. You have to knock over both of them to get that symbol. Now, please push the second thing. He gets an angry phone call from his wife. She doesn't want to have pears for dinner. We tell him, okay, tell her to eat their pet goldfish for dinner. She's a cat. She'll be fine. And then he finally gives us the water symbol, which lets us tell him, hey, come on over. We want to hang out with a frog. And we get to hang out with a frog. He gives us the purple symbol, which is not the final one. There is actually another symbol that we can gather in this final gauntlet here. This gauntlet represents a lot of the alternate overworlds. This screen has gravity in it now. And there are a bunch of other alternate things that would have been seen in other minigames had we gone through all of them. There we go. And now we've gotten all the symbols, which means we can unlock the dev room if we want to. I will not be doing that in the sake of going fast.
The guard dogs wouldn't attack. At the hospital, doctors reassured him that a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's. Not believing it, Bjorn convinced Korn boom operator Ock Traceroot to bite his other leg.
Ox Traceroot.
Bjorn died the next
A lot of these are computer jokes. Cisco router.
Powerful enough to treat both infections.
A lot of the enemies from this game are directly from ZZT, as I mentioned earlier. The centipedes, I believe the lions. I don't think the gorillas are, but there are some similar concepts. And time's going to be coming up in a few screens here pretty soon. 2 more screens. One more screen. I'm going to touch the white Mind Stone, and time! And that is the speedrun of Glittermitten Grove All Symbols. This one wound up being new world record by 9 seconds, which is pretty good. I feel like there were a couple of spots where I slipped up, but no. Yeah, I died a couple of times in the cathedral, but that's all right. Shouts out to mostly Tiger Proof and Twinbeard Games and the Frog Fraction speedrunning community for generally being interested in this route that I made. This game was out for like 6 years. I played it about 4 years ago, and no one was speedrunning it. There was no page for it. So I just want to say, if you're playing a game, you think it's a good speed game, you can route it out yourself. You can come up with a speedrun page for it. there may just be no reason why no one's running it. And hey, you get free world record, so that's a lot of fun. And with that, I will say goodnight, stream. But I might as well mention, other possibilities. That barber pole position could have an incentive where I play it with a different instrument. I can do it on the slide whistle. I've done it on an ocarina before. Be a lot of fun. It is also 4-player, so something fun would be to hook up 4 microphones and just let people play through it who haven't before. It could be con staff or just attendees or something. And also, I could have an incentive called Destroy the Village, and I'll show what that one is like. First, we gotta get through all the assistant to the assistant to the assistant directors here, which are all the Kickstarter backers. And we got the answer that this game is technically Frog Fractions 3. The developers consider Frog Fractions 2 to be the ARG itself. All right, so now we're back in the village. I can show some fun stuff you can do to really mess things up here. Okay, well, time, yeah. All right, well, the fast forward button seems to have gotten stuck here. I can mention if you type oh no with 2 O's at the end, the fairies all blow up. If you type mitosis, then your number of fairies will double to the point where the game will just kind of crash itself. Don't adjust your monitor or anything. This is the speed rate, the frame rate of the game right now. And time seems to be accelerating. I mean, if if it was a problem, I think the game would tell us if all our fairies were dead. But, the butterflies are covering over the fast forward UI too now. Oh, boy. Okay. 70,000 years? They've probably got, like, jetpacks. Oh, wait, they're fairies. They don't need jetpacks. They got wings. What am I talking about? Huh. I think if you type abacab, it's labeled as, like, the blood code, but it just makes trees shoot out red stuff. That's kind of fun. You can activate God mode for the ground, so you can't even dig. But I'm sure this will unfreeze pretty quick here, and then we can and then we can just click around and I'll show you some cool tricks. Okay, there we go. So oh. Huh. Well, I mean, I guess Titania survived. Let's see what she's got to say. I have some bad news about your trees. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I can see that from here. All right. Well, now that we've been sucked into a collapsing red giant, I think we can successfully say that the village has been destroyed. And with that, I'll unlock the sound test, which unfortunately does not free up the frame rate. You gotta close and reopen the game for that. But I'll say goodnight, stream, and if this was a marathon, enjoy the rest of the marathon. Good night.